Hey everyone, welcome to Taste Different Gaming Appetizers. What are we talking about today? We're talking about Discord and your ID, your identification. It's been uh hacked. So we're gonna talk about that. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, all that good stuff. Stay up to date with new content that we do all the time. All right, so go ahead and share this article here. All right. So 1.5 terabytes of temporary, quote unquote, photos used to verify Discord age are now in the hands of hackers. So this is an article on Destructoid. Though they are meant to be temporary, deleted upon verification, over 1.5 terabytes of Discord verification images, so selfies, have been swiped by hackers, totaling more than 2 million user photos. According to Inside Gaming, what that 2,185,151 age verification images, i.e., selfies, along with other private user information, have been stolen by hackers during a September intrusion into Discord's network. Discord previews had said that the hackers' motive was to extort the company and that the stolen data is being actively used for this purpose. The hack itself was disclosed on October 3rd, where Discord was did not specify the exact number of images or the size of the data stolen, but only stated a small number of government. That doesn't seem like a small number to me, but I guess compared to the amount of, I don't know how many people live in the United States. I'm not sure the total. So maybe that might be a small percentage. I'm not sure. Um, for what the company, from what the company released today, it appears that the hack wasn't that serious. And oh my God, ads. And that it acted in a timely manner to kick the hackers out of its network, specifically by revoking the support's access to Discord tickets. The hack appears to be targeted to those who had interacted with Discord support in particular, which could explain error age verification images. However, as Insider Gaming points out, these images used by Discord to confirm a user's age in certain jurisdictions where the law requires it, the United Kingdom being a most recent example, which is true. And then we're slowly starting to do that here. They're trying to implement that here in a lot of different ways. Are supposed to be temporary, meaning that they're deleted once the age verification process is complete. But as we've seen above, millions of these images reportedly remain in Discord systems, allowing the hackers to steal them during the attack. The company did not clarify how or why these images were retained in its system, despite its own claims that they are temporary. I guess if you say temporary, you could say they're temporary. I mean, temporary could mean, 1 hour to 10 years, right? I mean, it depends on what they consider to be temporary. Internet, anomalies, so this basically is talking about, putting your credit card information, passwords, messages, things like that were not affected by this. The hackers now have the means to fully disclose people's names and information as they see fit, exposing them to a broader internet and likely permanently revoking their anonymity. I'm going to try to say that word, but it's going to be hard for me to pronounce. So this is, I'm going to stop sharing the article. This is the problem with this type of stuff, right? We've said it, we kind of alluded to it or said it before when we kind of talked to something similar to this, but there's a lot of things that they're trying to do this with, not just Discord. I guess the biggest thing in the news is porn sites, right? There are some states that have age verification for porn sites, and more states are kind of hopping on board of that, where you have to show a government ID, a government issued ID, to verify your age and stuff like that. And the more, generally, just not just with that, but the more that you put yourself out there with all sorts of different things, right? Social media. I mean, even the stuff we do here on YouTube, but various social media, or even with your own phone using things like, um, you know, face scanners or thumbprint scanning, or, things of that nature. Um, that's, it's always a good idea. That stuff is fine to use, but you always want to have a separate security option as well, right? A secondary, which is going to make you more secure. But again, all of our information is out there, and it's very easy to acquire our information. And these companies need to do a lot better job, and our government needs to do a lot better job of making sure these companies regulate and make sure things like this. The photo IDs in this case for Discord, they should have been temporary, right? They should have, as soon as age verification was done, they should have been wiped and cleaned from the server. Now, it could be that they were temporary and the server does have some sort of purging option. It's just it only purges after so much time, right? Or whatever the case may be. We don't know how everything was set up, right? But still, though, there's gotta, because otherwise you run into this situation where anybody's going to be able to go in, hackers especially, steal your information and use that for whatever means they want to, right? And the more that these companies request that information, make it harder for you to access the things you want to access by requiring age verification with government IDs, or whatever they go beyond that, right? Putting in your credit card, or for verification, or I don't know, bank ID. You put your routing and account number in to verify you. Like, it's just getting bad. So there's got to be more of a, I don't know, I feel like there's got to be more of a secure, a better and more secure option that can be utilized, that doesn't necessarily, it identifies you, but it doesn't harm you either, right? It can be used as a verification without exposing you. I don't know what that would be, right? But I'm sure the great minds could put their heads together and figure it out. But I don't know. What do you think, Pat? While I try to fix my fuzzy face.
So, to be honest with you, this is a problem caused by regulation, right? As much as we say it needs to be regulated, it is a problem caused by regulation. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that these are regulated, because essentially this has come along because these sites, like Discord, you can get into a server that has an SFW chat, and there's pictures and videos, and so now they have to be able to verify your age if you want to access that stuff, because the government has in certain states. So what they've done is they've just taken a wide brushstroke to everybody, right? The certain local state governments, or even maybe countries in other countries, have said you need to do these verifications, and they've just taken a wide brushstroke and said, okay, we're going to do this. And what they have done is they basically said, the only way that we can verify your age is something that shows something that's printed with your name, something that shows your birth year, and things like that. And so, they've created this problem now, and then now saying that they were saying that it was only temporary, but how the hell do you have so much backlog of images? Because I found another article that had mentioned, and this was from Insider Gaming, which I guess is the one that actually did an interview and an expose on them, right?
That's what the Destructoid, I think, was sourcing.
Referencing,
yeah.
So, and it said that, in this article, it just said, October 3rd, Discord publicly announced that unauthorized party compromised one of Discord's third party. So they're blaming it on third party, not themselves. Service providers. This incident, which happened in late September, had the following impact: name, Discord username, email, and other contact details it provided to Discord customer support were compromised. Limited billing information, such as payment type, the last four of your credit card, and purchase history. Your IP address, messages with customer service agents, and limited corporate data, training materials, and internal presentations were stolen. Information such as full credit card, CCV numbers, private messages, passwords, and other authentication detail was not involved. It says, according to Discord's own policy, Discord and KID, which is the third-party vendor that they're claiming is at fault, say the image of your identity document and ID face match selfies are deleted directly after the age group is confirmed. So, because then it went on to say, this one thing said that the hackers, the perpetrators of this, claim to have obtained 1.5 terabytes of age verification photos totaling 2,185,151 images, right? And then so Discord actually pumped out another thing, like I think was Wednesday of this week or whatever. So it had said, Discord said, no, it's more around 70,000 users, but it's 70,000 government IDs have been exposed. And I'm like, how is that temporary? Like, how many people are you age verifying at the time? Are you telling me 70,000 people are waiting to have their age verified, and that's why they're still available? Is that what you're trying to say to me? Because that means that you have a backlog and you have a piss poor system. That stuff, in my opinion, should just be like instantaneous. I mean, AI can probably do a better job than a human looking at a photo ID, because essentially you tell AI to OCR this, look for artifacts, and because they're not, I guarantee they're not taking that photo of that ID and sending it off to like a ID verification service. Like KID is probably doing the verification themselves, and it's probably automated. Like 90% of it's probably automated, and then the 10% they think is false is kicked back for human intervention, right?
So that's what happens when you give that ID information to a kid.
Right. Yeah.
KID.
KID. KID. So I mean, 70,000 users. Yeah.
A dumb joke.
No, I get it. But so, I mean, I think that, 70,000, it basically says if you were affected, they've already been contacted. All affected users globally have been contacted, and they work with law enforcement and data protection authorities. So, I mean, well, I guess we're lucky that we've come as far as somewhat of a country, because I remember when my own state used to put your social security number on your driver's license as your driver's license number.
Ooh, that's no good.
Yeah. Our state used to do that up until the 2004, I think, federal law put a kibosh on that. So your driver's license used to have your social security number on. I'm like, well, this is stupid. If I lose this, they have access to everything they need to do to steal my identity, right?
Right.
So they put a kibosh to that.
I mean, that's just like, especially here in the United States, this one thing that we love to do is half-ass everything.
Yeah.
So we'll like say, okay, this needs to be done, age verification, right? And you're right, or some sort of solution needs to be done so people, they can't just rely on the "Are you 18 or over?" click this to enter yes or no, right? So they need to come up with something to keep people out. But that's one thing about it, is they think that far ahead, but they don't think past that. Right. They don't think, okay, well, what happens beyond that point, or what are these different scenarios? If we're doing this, then what are the bad things, or what could happen potentially? We, like you said, it's a broad stroke approach where it's just, stick a Band-Aid on it and hope for the best. Right. And then when shit hits the fan, they're like, whoops. Well, it wasn't 2 million. It was only 700,000. It shouldn't be one. Yeah. Let alone 700,000.
Yeah, I mean, like that. Because if they're trying to stick their guns and say that it was still a temporary hold ID, like everybody needs to know what a temporary hold means. Then, what is a temporary hold in their eyes? Because according to their own statement, that as soon as the ID is verified, as soon as your age is verified, they delete the data. And I'm like, okay, so why were 70,000 IDs still stolen? 70,000 government IDs still stolen, on top of all the other pieces of information that were stolen. Because I am sorry, but your face, if you're not on the internet like you and I are, posting public videos, and you're you strictly keep yourself like off the internet, they basically have exposed your biometric data, because face is biometrics. We use face, fingerprints, eyes, all this stuff for biometric data. I mean, you can open your phone with your face. You can open your phone with your thumbprint, So they've essentially exposed what I consider sensitive data. A photo is still sensitive to some extent, like especially a clear photo that you need to do to prove age, especially on a driver's license. So the only thing they're really missing which these hackers probably aren't really missing, is the data that's on your driver's license, and then whatever other data is out on the dark webs, whatever you want to call it these days, but the forums and back rooms where they say, hey, I've got this person and I've got this social security number, but I don't have like their addresses or anything else. And now they have all this data, and they also have a driver's license number that can help facilitate that identity theft, or opening credit cards in your name, or opening this and that. And it just ruins people's, there are protections and things, but a lot of times banks are dicks about it a lot of time. I mean, if you've ever had your identity stolen and you try to work with your bank, the bank is not there to help you. They don't want to refund the money. They don't want to do anything like that. So bank is not your friend. I will tell you from experience, credit cards have been better for things like that than your own bank is, because the credit cards have a little bit of protection in place for you to where they refund the purchase and things like that. Banks are more apt to just do an investigation internally and then close it without working with you or talk with you and say, sorry, you can't get your money back or something, So, in my opinion, if you're going to buy online, buy a credit card, buy a preloaded credit card or something like that. Use virtual card numbers. All those tools are there to help you, but don't store and save your credit card information for ease of use. I mean, that's just horrible. But at the same time, companies like this should be more responsible with their not PII, but PCI transaction data, because they store the transaction data for a time until it's, whatever the PCI compliance is. And I can't remember off the top of my head how long it is they need to keep the transactional data before it purges off. But they're keeping it in like weak ciphers, unencrypted databases, and just when they're supposed to. PCI compliance has all this list, but this is like I told you so, because I think when we first chatted about this, we said, well, what happens when somebody steals all these photos and IDs and everything? And they're like, oh, that can't happen because it's temporary. Well, you just had an exposure of 70,000 government issued photo IDs and a crap ton of other pieces of data that who knows what information. Like I said, it's got your name, email address, contact details, and limited billing information, but it also has messages with the CSR. People put all kinds of random crap in those messages that may not be right. Somebody may say, hey, what's the last four of the card? Because it's a billing dispute. Person may put the whole damn card number in there, and you're just like, no, it's an exposed thing. It's not the CSR or the agent on the other end's fault. It's just some people are just they don't think when they do things, right? So now your credit card's exposed, or your social security number is exposed, or something. So to me, this is a failing on Discord side, and it's also a failing of regulation, because regulation just said protect the children. We're not going to tell you how to do it. Just do it, right?
Just protect the children.
Just protect the children.
That's how we work. We just work with phrases. We just go with
one overreaching phrase, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And just swipe it across.
Right. Just like everything else, it's like do everything within your power to protect the children, and you're just like, what do you mean?
How do you want me to do that? I don't know.
Figure it out.
Do it anyway.
Yeah. Just do it. Yeah. And I mean, it's just like anything else. When the government gets in and they just, they
half-ass it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they half-ass it.
We can say everything. I mean, just look back into like the ages of nuclear when they decided to put out the ALARA stuff, it was just like, do all the necessary things that you need to do to prevent every ounce of radiation exposure. And you're just like, what is everything and anything?
Right.
The government could just come in and say, you're not doing enough or whatever. And, regulation can be good and bad. Did the ALARA stuff help? Of course it did, right?
If it's
to make
done
things safer,
correctly, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem is
right.
if it's got to be done correctly and thought out, with all scenarios, right? I mean, if you're going to do regulation, you really got to
think it through.
Yeah, you really got to think it through, and think about all types of scenarios, brainstorming, stuff like that. Shit that we learned in school, right? Whenever they told you to get in groups and talk to your peers and come up with like ideas and scenarios for like whatever the subject was, right? Mm-hmm. And your group had to come up with so many different things. And that's that critical thinking, that brainstorming. That's the reason why they teach you that shit, is because you're going to use that, and you should use that in every aspect of your life, even if you go up to top of like a government official or something like that, or a CEO of a company or something like that, right? Security group in a company or whatever the case may be. Like you've got to think of all contingencies. I know it's hard to think of every single contingency, but you really got to go through the ideas of, you know, what needs to happen. And of course, with KID or KID to be, you know, that's another question. If they are a third party, then why are they holding on to this ID data for so long, right? You know, you could be right. They just could be behind on verification, which again needs to be looked at, or they were just holding on to these things and not deleting them out of the system.
Yeah, and like I said, from what I mean, and I didn't put in a whole lot of thought to this because it really doesn't apply to me. Like,
Right.
I'm old enough now that where they're like, we don't need to age verify you. You've been on the platform probably longer than, you know, to prove that you're over the age of 18 or whatever. But according to some of the sources and stuff, is that they primarily, like I said, wide brushstrokes because of regulations in the UK and Australia. Basically, now they're like, okay, we'll just put it across the board for everybody. So, you know, I mean, but individual states in our own country have
Some of them do.
disproportionate laws on this stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
our state doesn't require anything but you to say, yes, I'm 18, right? They don't
For
they don't need you
now.
to verify your age or anything, but there's other states that are like, sorry, you need to prove to me you're 18 to look at this
Right.
material, whatever it may be, which means I need to see some papers, please.
Yes, papers, please.
You know,
This is a great game. You know,
Yes.
since we're going to talk about gaming, you know, since this is the gaming channel, we'll throw something gaming in there besides Discord, which is papers, please.
Yeah, but you know, Discord is primarily the community gathering place for gamers. I mean, it's like,
it is.
I mean, we have a Discord that we all hang out on, and
Right.
you know, and
I
with
have
friends.
different Discord servers that I'm a part of.
Yep.
For
games that
it's
I play.
all for gaming, but
Mhm.
you know, just different ones. We
Yep.
have widescreen.
Mhm.
We have me and Pat have ultra widescreen monitors. There's an ultra widescreen
Mhm.
Discord server that's out there for games that don't support it. That they on that Discord they come up with fixes and stuff like that to make it work. So I'm a part of that Discord. So when a new game comes out, I'm like, oh, this doesn't have native ultra wide. Great. I'm going to go on the Discord and, you know,
And
find
usually, if
a
I get
fix for it.
really heavy into a game, I'll join their Discord to check out what's going on.
Yeah.
You know,
If
like,
I really like a game, yeah, and they
Mhm.
have a Discord, I'll hop on there to
Yep.
follow, like, because they usually post on there like events or, you know, maintenance or things that are going on. And so it's a really good place to, especially if you're into a game, it's a really good location to find like the latest
Mhm.
going on
Right.
for that game.
Yeah, and like I said, there's tons of them out there. Like I joined one for the seamless co-op, right, for Elden Ring. Because I was like, well, what all can this do? And hey, I might need some help here and things like that. And you can just see what they're working through, and you're like, okay, so this is an issue. I need to stay away from this area until they come out with a new patch. Or hey, they came out with a new patch today. Let me go download the latest from Nexus Mod or whatever, you know, because I don't let Nexus Mod manage the updates and things like that. I don't let do that because
Right.
too many people can push an infected repository out there. And next thing you know, you've downloaded, you know, a virus or Trojan or keylogger or help you, you know, or, you know, heaven forbid, you know, ransomware or something that encrypts your hard drive or something, you know, which to me, I wouldn't care because there's nothing on there that I need to decrypt. I just wipe and reload the damn thing. But,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, I don't keep anything like that on mine either, but
I mean, I could get out there and expose my SAN, but I don't have a share map to my SAN. I manually go out to browse to that because I don't want to accidentally expose that thing to something like that. But yeah, I mean, so to me, this was a I told you so, and I think Discord's got a lot to answer for. You know, the only thing I could ever tell anybody if you're worried about your online presence is to make sure that you lock your credit, because all that really does is require them to give you a phone call anytime somebody applies for credit card or applies for money in your name.
yeah.
It's a lot harder to protect your credit cards and debit cards if you're shopping online, but that's why I say you need like a card. I don't buy online with anything but my credit card. And then, you know, when I buy online, I have protection from my credit card company. But I also use virtual card numbers. So if something happens to that card number, just get a new virtual card number, and my real card wasn't exposed. credit card company does their investigation and refunds you based off of whatever. But also a good thing about most credit cards is that you can lock those cards. You can
Right.
lock your debit card too, but that's a little harder, right? We all have our bill pays hitting our debit cards and pulling, like, well, I don't know when this is going to bill, so I can't really lock my debit card. But my credit card is just used for whatever, right? It's not used for day-to-day transactions, so I can lock it unless I plan on having a transaction that day if I need to go use my credit card for something, So it stays locked like 99% of the time until I'm ready to go spend some money on it. I'm like, oh, I better unlock this and then lock it back and move on. So, but yeah, I mean, this stuff like this is just going to continue to get worse and worse because it's the cat and mouse game that we always hear about, cops and robbers. The robbers are always one step ahead of the cops, so the white hats are always one step behind the bad actor,
Right.
So,
It's true. But, just try to keep yourself safe out there on the internet. Don't expose yourself too much. Or not at all if you can help it. But,
protect yourself.
yeah. All right. Well, let us know down in the comments below. I don't know. Do you use Discord? Have you put your personal information out there? Or your image for them to take for support reasons or whatever? Let us know down in the comments below what you think. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.